Welcome to the Extra Point with Andrew Pawling, bringing you the latest sporting news, updates, and predictions from around the nation. Now, here's your host, Andrew Pawling.
And welcome to this Saturday edition of the Extra Point. I'm your host, Andrew Pawling, and as always, feel free to follow the show on Instagram at the Extra Point WSRQ. We have a special guest in the show today. We have Mr. Andre Spivey. How are you doing today, Andre?
Pretty good. It's a nice day today.
Yeah, perfect Sarasota day. Sunny as always out there. I just had a few questions for you. You're a basketball guy, the creator, owner of the local Sarasota Manatees. We'll get more into your season in a minute or two here, but I just had some questions for you about the NBA playoffs that recently wrapped up, going into the finals and the Warriors dominating throughout the entire course of the postseason. What does that do for you as a fan of basketball when you know one team's just going to go in and win? I think they won almost every game. I think they only lost once the entire time. Does that take some of the fun out of it, or does it make it more exciting to see the win streak continue?
I have to say, as a fan, it does take some of the fun out of it. You're looking for storylines and intensities and challenges. You kind of miss the 90s moments where it was the Knicks and the Pacers and Reggie scores 8 points in 18 seconds, and you don't know who's going to win. There's no mystery really anymore. It was like, that if the Warriors show up, they're going to win. And it was pretty much the same for the Cleveland Cavaliers. I think they went, 16-1 or something? They only lost one game, too. So it's so predictable. It does take quite a bit of the fun out. So I can understand other fans feel the same way, too. I definitely understand that feeling.
And yeah, when you look at it was polar opposites between the baseball playoffs this year and then the basketball playoffs. Baseball World Series went to Game 7, extra innings, down to the wire. Once you got to the finals, everyone kind of knew the two teams that were going to get in it, and neither of them necessarily broke. They never really broke a sweat or had their backs to the wall throughout the playoffs. And then when you got into the finals, it was over as soon as it started by, Game 3 or Game 4. And I know you were watching them. I saw you post on Facebook about it a decent bit.
Absolutely. I mean, there was so much firepower on Golden State's team. It just clearly overwhelmed Cleveland. There were points where because it wasn't a bad LeBron. This was a great LeBron. This was triple-double LeBron. This was a pretty solid Kevin Love. So it just kind of shows how outmatched those teams were against each other. Warriors basically overwhelmed them. Sheer talent, outcoached them and everything.
And when it comes down to, it's probably going to be these two teams again for the fourth time in a row next year. What do you think they're going to have to do to get there again, or like the Cavaliers would have to do to get there and win it this upcoming year? Like, who do you think has the bigger move to make? Like, what's the key move for each team here?
I'd say that, the Warriors, their key is going to be keeping everybody. Whatever the cap space is, whatever they have to do. And it seems like their players are willing to take less pay. It looks like Kevin Durant is willing to take $4 million less to keep Iguodala. So they got a lot of good teamwork and camaraderie there. The Cavs have some serious moves to make if they're considering actually winning. They'll probably make it again, but consider winning. I know everybody says they should look at another superstar. I hear talking about Paul George and Jimmy Butler. But those are going to be difficult to get without losing some pieces from the bench. I was kind of leaning towards another idea, which is getting what they call what they used to call 3-and-D guys to fill up that bench. Guys like McLemore, who don't cost you a lot, but he's going to make the open three, and he's going to play defense. Or maybe a Maurice Spates type, the champion himself, and played for the Warriors. He's pretty good size. He isn't going to cost you a lot. He's going to hit the three, and he's going to play defense. So maybe filling out, getting those role players a bit stronger. It's not like they have terrible role players in Cleveland, but they're not good enough to match up with the Warriors role players. And I think coaching's a deal too for Cleveland. It seems like, no offense, I like Tyronn Lue, so of course he's a championship coach. He's like LeBron. There's no game plan, doesn't it? What do we do? LeBron sitting down. It's kind of a dancing game. I think that hurt him a lot too. I hope they get better game plans that don't involve LeBron.
Yeah, and then when you as you said, they'd have to get rid of, a Kevin Love type player to get a Paul George type player and deal there. Last question about the NBA before we switch over to your Sarasota Manatees. Who's got your vote for MVP?
Ooh, I would have to say LeBron James or Russell Westbrook. Westbrook, I'm leaning towards because the surrounding cast is just nowhere near as talented as the surrounding cast that LeBron. And he beat that team to the playoffs. And that's to take that OKC team to the playoffs this year by himself. That is pretty impressive.
He had an absolutely historic season this year. Switching topics, something you're very involved in local sports, semi-professional sports we have going on here. You've got the Sarasota Manatees, the basketball team. What other stuff do you have going on locally, and how did this first season go with the Manatees?
The first season was fun. It was absolutely fun. It was definitely an adventure, a learning experience, meeting the referees, finding out what their rules are, finding the different personalities of the referees, knowing when to get excited and call out calls and when not to. There was quite a few times where I almost thrown out of there just out of frustration. Out of coaches and GMs. I remember directly a ref looked at me and said, "You stay in here." So it was definitely a fun, passionate season. The players were great. Just meeting these guys like Austin, Gordon, and Jason Collins, and Nando. It was just amazing to see where these guys developed. And, of course, there's more players than that, Henry Ford, and can't name everybody. But to meet some of the new guys that are practicing with those guys, add to it is actually great, too. I mean, some of them big, some of them small, some of them fast. There's just such a variation of talent. They're all from the local, from the 941 area. So that I really like about it. And they're very community involved. Like recently, we just went to the Stop the Violence event, which was an event. It's fun to get out there in the community to show that we're not just out here to play basketball, but we're also out here to make a difference throughout the entire 941. So that was just very, very enjoyable, just getting amongst the local community, taking pictures, having fun, handing out candy to kids. We want to spend the summer out there in the community having fun until the season starts again in November, and then we'll be live and serious about basketball again.
Yeah, so, best of luck to you guys. Obviously getting through that first season is a really big deal, and then moving on to your second season, best of luck as you guys continue to grow that way. One of the last things I wanted to talk to you about today is in a month or so, I'm going to be done hosting the show about 4 or 5 weeks from now. I'm going to have to heading over to college in Lakeland, going to be going to Florida Southern, and you are the probable guy to be taking over the show for me. I just want to know what your plans are with it and how you plan on continuing, what we've been doing here for the better part of a year now.
Oh, for one, I have to say, man, you did a great job. I remember
thank you.
It was one of our first interviews, and you made us look like pros, as nervous as we were. So
thank
I hope
you.
Continue being able to make people feel comfortable when they come in there and talk about it. I hope to just keep it in the same direction of sparking the passion for sports throughout the entire 941. I mean, we talk about sports all day. And the key here is I want to make sure continue to do so. And we reach out to as many athletes as we can, from coaches to GMs to tennis to just whoever loves what they do as an athlete in the 941. I plan on trying to talk to them and highlighting that so people can see what the community is really about, just like you've been doing with the Extra Point.
Thank you. And I'm looking forward to seeing what direction you continue to take it in, because I did a little bit of basketball and football, obviously a lot of baseball with my background, but I'm looking forward to see with your connections and the people that how it just continues to grow into something bigger and better, just to really help highlight the local athletes and all those storylines and give those people their time in the spotlight.
It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun times.
All right. Well, thank you, Andre, for coming on today. Look forward to having you take it over for me in about a month or so. And take care until then, man. Thanks again.
No problem. Thank you.
All right. We will be right back in the Extra Point after a quick break. Spencer Dubberly will be joining the show for segment 2 today to talk a little bit of baseball. Our thanks again to Andre Spivey, and we will be back in a minute.